Let's move on, shall we? Let's transition into another classic, JP and the Beans top 5. Today's top 5 topic, what additional characters would we enjoy seeing as members of the Thunderbolts roster? So again, quick recap. In this upcoming 2025 adaptation of the Thunderbolts, the roster includes Black Widow, Red Guardian, Winter Soldier, U.S. Agent, Taskmaster, Ghost, and Sentry. Now, the Thunderbolts, like many a comic book team, have gone through a myriad of iterations with their roster. So the options are legion. We are here to select our 5 best choices to be included on the team. Beans, you go first.
Okay, so my number 5 and my number 4 have not been introduced to the MCU yet.
Fantastic.
So, well, actually, that's not true. Just number 5.
That's great.
Okay, so my number 5 is Norman Osborn.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you want him as the Iron Patriot, great, cool, could do that. If you want him as the Green Goblin, also dope. I'll take it.
That's what
I just think I think Norman would be a great addition. He's led them before.
Yep.
You kind of get the mix of the Dark Avengers-esque kind of vibes, but Norman's such a douchebag, and it would just work so well for the Thunderbolts as he's like trying to be a good guy. Like he would pretty much be the Valentino role, right? So Norman's my number 5. I just want to see this character finally make the MCU because he's such a pivotal character in all of Marvel. So Norman Osborn, my number 5.
I love that. My number 5 also has not been introduced yet in the MCU, and that is an Inhuman known as Maximus the Mad. Now, Maximus is the brother to Black Bolt.
Out there,
okay?
I would never thought.
Totally out there. But I was trying to think of, okay, what would the most chaotic additions, like worst teammates ever? Maximus certainly qualifies, all right? He leans into the Mad moniker in the sense of he is genuinely chaotic and simply trying to do what is the most chaotic action activity thing possible, regardless of what the overall outcome is. And he is an absolute schemer. He's not trustworthy at all. So whatever you are getting on the face, you're not necessarily actually receiving from your sweet Maximus. So that's my number 5. Brother of Black Bolt, Inhuman, Maximus the Mad.
I would have never guessed that from you in a million years.
I felt really good about that one. All right. My number 4, speaking of some wild cards, how about Bullseye, wielder of cards on occasion, but you want to talk about a lethal, not great dude with some skills that would be a lot of fun to watch be cut loose in this kind of environment? Give me Bullseye all day. Part of what's phenomenal about Bullseye is his ability to turn just about anything into a weapon, right? Seems like a phenomenal fit for these kind of black ops activities where, hey, things are liable to go sideways. You got to improvise a little bit. Bullseye, perfect fit for that scenario. That's my number 4.
Bullseye's good. Didn't even think about Bullseye. My number 4 is Zemo. Just because I thought he was probably the best part of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Arguably one of the best parts.
Yep. Even brought the mask out.
The mask needs to stay 100%. The mask was amazing, right? Just to have, because you need some of these, more of these wild card characters to be on these teams.
Yep.
And I think Zemo's actually led the Thunderbolts at one point too in the comics, if I am correct.
I think you're right.
So
you're correct.
Yeah, do it. I want to see these asshole-esque characters just on teams and watch them fight each other amongst themselves. So I got Zemo at 4.
I love it. Good number 4. Who's your number 3, Miles?
Well, my number 3, this is the dude's middle name, is Thunderbolt. I got Red Hulk, General Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross.
You almost have to have him in there, right?
Right.
How do you not?
We're finally getting him. We're finally getting the Red Hulk. It's time. Let's see his actual general abilities out in the open.
Absolutely.
Because guess what? Nobody's going to get out of line when you are being ran by the Red Hulk. Okay? Everybody's going to have to fall in line to Thaddeus at that point is you don't want to get Hulk smashed just whenever. Okay, so that's going to be my number 3 pick.
I love it. Yeah, my number 3, gentleman you mentioned earlier, Norman Osborn. Like he's just so volatile. My preference would be the where he's drifting into the Green Goblin persona. Now the tricky thing there is he probably can't lean into it too hard all the time because it's such a clearly villainous look, and that makes it harder for him to maintain the mantle of leadership. But that volatility is just perfect for a group like the Thunderbolts. So Norman Osborn, get him in there. That's the number 3. My number 2, boy, I'm torn on the direction that I've wanted to go, but here's the direction I'm going to go. All right. Punisher as number 2. Get him in there. Let him go nuts. I mean, is there a better fit where it's like, hey, we're taking the safety off here. Go ballistic, my guy. Let Frank Castle, let him play. Punisher, number 2.
Punisher's also my number 2. Absolutely. I was juggling between him being number 1 and number 2.
Yeah.
I like the idea of him being with John Walker and with Bucky so much because Bucky was that guy not by his own free will.
Right.
So to watch a guy who's choosing to do that, that is a perfect foil on a team for Bucky to deal with.
Yep.
Walker could be like, oh, that could have been me. Maybe I was wrong.
Yeah.
Just to have that guy that's just going to absolutely lose his mind on everything and everyone. Absolutely Punisher.
I love it.
He's also going to be the guy where whoever's in charge would be like, I need you to make sure that they don't come back. He's going to be the guy. He's going to make it happen.
Right.
So, Punisher. My number 2.
All right, your number 1, sir.
My number 1. We'll see if you have this as your number 1. I would be very impressed. I have Justin Hammer.
Wow.
I have Justin Hammer.
Wow.
Talk about a callback. Watching the What If series.
Tip of the cap to you.
It reminds me of how much I actually missed his character because he was arguably the best part of Iron Man 2. Watching him and Tony go at it. I like the idea of him getting a second chance almost.
Right.
With you know, being in Stark's building, I think, is also really appealing, just to see what else he got his hands on tech-wise. Being the one to outfit everybody, whether it works or not, I also think is hilarious. Can you imagine Bucky gets a robotic arm from him and it just stops working?
It just sucks. It malfunctions constantly.
Absolutely. He just talks it up like he talked about the War Machine bullet, and it just takes a poo on him mid-fight. I love that idea. So my number 1 is Justin Hammer.
Kudos to you.
Thank you.
I can't top that originality of thought and of idea. That's magnificent. My number 1 is Venom because I want Venom in the MCU. So that's part of this. But what a great spot for him to be because his inclusion in the Thunderbolts does not prevent him from being a Spider-Man adversary. In the least. To me, it's like the best fit as far as how can we get more of them because you can't overuse him as a Spider-Man villain. It gets to be part of his character, but now you get more screen time, you get more activity, you get essentially, and this is the appeal of Venom, it's like, well, what if Spider-Man was a bad guy and had freaking teeth? There you go. Hello, Venom. So it would just be a delight to watch him as part of that, group. So that's my number 1.
Now, would you go like Eddie Brock Venom, or are you going to go Flash Thompson Agent Venom? Because they have done Agent Venom in the past. So I'm just curious on what Venom you would prefer.
Eddie Brock is my guy.
The bigger brute.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm not the Flash Thompson version where it's much more like sleek. That's not Venom to me. Give me the bulk. The bruiser. That's the Venom that I'm more.
I'm with you at this point because we haven't had enough of the real Venom.
Yep.
In my opinion.
Yep. Right.
And like to get Agent Venom now would kind of be like a missed opportunity almost. And also the Flash Thompson we have sucks.
Also true.
Not a good Flash Thompson. So
yeah, we can get there eventually, no question. But you've got to have your OG Venom first.
Agreed.
That's my take on that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. hey, that's a great and fun